And welcome back. The Knowledge House empowers low income youth and young adults by offering free technical training, professional development, and a robust network of partners, enabling them to secure well paying jobs in the tech industry and achieve financial independence. Joining us now discussing more, we've got the Director of Corporate Partnerships at the Knowledge House. We've got Daniel and Adeyanju. Am I correct? Did I get it right?
It's it's Adeyanju, but I appreciate the attempt, Darren. It's so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey man, thank you so much for being with us, and I appreciate you taking the time to share. There's so much going on, but when we talk literally about the work that you do, let's get right into it.
Absolutely. My name is Daniel Adeyanju. I'm the Director of Partnerships at the Knowledge House, the house that love built. We were founded in 2014 by Geraldine Rodriguez and Joe Carano because they saw a need in our communities to connect underestimated communities like ours to family sustaining tech wages. Geraldine's from the Bronx, and she saw that her local community was completely being left out of the digital economy. So she joined with Joe, who's a technologist who taught himself to code and availed himself to a well paying tech career. And since then, almost 10 years later, we've impacted over 2,000 lives in the Bronx, now beyond. We're now in LA, Atlanta, New Jersey, and we are doing amazing work with our adults. We avail folks to a year long innovation fellowship in cybersecurity, data science, user experience. And for our youth, we have a year long program called the Kareem Carbouche Coding Fellowship. It's actually named after French Montana. It avails them to learn about the tech space.
When we talk about tech, obviously there is a huge digital divide, and you're doing a great job of really closing the gap. But when we talk about really closing that gap, where are we by way of that? I mean, how do you see it?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, the conversation right now, we're seeing AI, the rise of AI. And we, as communities, really need to make sure that our young people are prepared. We have certainly a long ways to go, which is why the Knowledge House and what we're doing is so important. So, we look to galvanize our communities and our parents to think about family sustaining careers, not minimum wage anymore, family sustaining careers. And that all points to tech skills like the ones I mentioned, data science, being able to design experiences, being able to protect our networks, cyber security, and understanding data. So it's a lot of work that needs to be done, but working with schools as we do, working with higher ed institutions as we do, it's a full court press that we all need to work together as a community to make a difference.
You know, we have a lot of people out there that saying, listen, I just have enough trouble navigating Google and online. Right now, to get to the place of navigating AI, Chat GBT, got a whole lot of other stuff that's out there. Um, it can become somewhat overwhelming. And as even though young people are great receptors, certainly for them, it's also been a challenge as well. So I know that you've got an event that's coming up to really talk about the future of it. So why don't you walk us through a little bit about the event and what's taking place?
Absolutely. So our event is called The Future of Tech, Navigating the Rise of Artificial Intelligence. It's our annual corporate reception. It is an opportunity for us to engage these partners who hire from our communities, they mentor in our communities, and they financially sponsor this work. Our work is free to our fellows, our participants, but it does cost to do this kind of work. So in this corporate reception, we're going to be focusing on navigating the rise of artificial intelligence. So our esteemed panel, including folks from Afrotech, Microsoft, Eat Okra, they'll be talking about how underestimated communities like ours can ensure that we're part of the digital economy. So that's going to be on November 15th at Accenture, one of our key partners. And we have other great partners that will be present, such as Bloomberg and Barclays, who have been supporting our work for years. It's going to be a rich, dynamic conversation. We welcome members of the community and corporate organizations that want to be a part of this work, who want to financially support us, who want to hire from our communities, as well as mentor our communities.
Daniel, I'll throw the question out to you. I think you kind of led into it a little while ago, but I want to ask the question about how does the underserved community stay kind of relevant during a time of pivotal change such as this?
Absolutely. So it's gonna start with curiosity. Our communities need to be asking more questions. Our communities need to be positioning themselves as problem solvers. In this era, we have AI, we have all these tools. These are simply the new hammers and nails. We must master them through programs like the Knowledge House. We must upskill, but we need to take those tools and use them to build up our communities, use them to get high paying roles that will help us to sustain our families so that we can take care of ourselves. We don't have to wait for anyone else to help out. The Knowledge House is here to provide the tools and the skills we can build a future that is inclusive for our communities.
Yeah, and when we talk about building the future, obviously, what do you foresee in the future by way of this digital technological advance? As we said, a lot's happening right now, and the communities that you're working with, the young people that you're working with, also really getting them on pace to be able to be sustainable.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of kind of horror stories that people say. I'm an optimist. I'm a techno optimist. I think that we've had many of these revolutions before, these industrial revolutions. This is pretty much our fourth one. And it's very clear that those that take up the skills and the tools and the mindsets can be successful. Many of our communities, historically, if you go back into the history at the beginning of time, um, uh, in the Black community in Africa, folks were building things. We need to, in the Bronx and beyond, we need to own our talent. If you look at hip hop, we need to own our history and build for our own. So if we do that, if we get those skills and we go for these high paying jobs, we get rid of the fear and we lead with the love that we have for each other, for our communities, for our children, and we go and learn these skills. The moms, the grandmas, the grandpas, the dads, the uncles and nieces, each one teach 10, come to the Knowledge House, gain these skills. I'm going to mention that one more time. And let's build a future. Let's own our futures. Let's solve problems for ourselves.
Let me throw some numbers out here. About 2,000 youth and young adults have you've been serving, and about 80% of those have actually graduated. Three out of four of them actually secure employment, and 90% of your staff are predominantly people of color and hail from the same community as your fellows. What's the secret sauce? Because it seems as though you're on a positive up trajectory. What's the secret sauce for you?
I mean, you nailed it on the head. I mean, shout out to Geraldine, our founder, and Joe, our co-founder, our CTO. Being led by people of color, this is really for us, by us, from our communities. Geraldine being from the Bronx, from the South Bronx, he knows the challenges we face. One of our star students actually grew up in the same building as her in the South Bronx, low economic opportunity, and we've been able to change that trajectory. And it's been really the amazing staff who really love what they do, really love our communities, our amazing corporate partners who work with us to make sure that our fellows are prepared for the future of work, and our amazing fellows who really sacrifice their time. They're in class from 5:30 to 9:30 from Monday through Thursday for an entire year to change their trajectories, the trajectories of their families, and the trajectories of their communities.
When we talk about youth and young adults actually being serviced today, we know that in the New York City public school system, there are a lot of young people. We know about the digital divide there. In the New York City public school system during COVID, so many of them fell behind simply because of a lack of technology. What are you seeing from behind your desk by way of our young people and their ability to really navigate this age of tech, particularly AI?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, it starts with the technology. They need to have the technology. But I think it also starts with the context. So, the schools need to continue to make sure that technology is built into the curriculum. What I saw as well, I had the opportunity to work with Sojourner Truth, an amazing middle school in Harlem, and I noticed that the teachers needed more support to make sure that they were up to date. And the principal really put a lot of effort towards that. So your school really upskilling their teachers. We're doing some work around that at the Knowledge House as well. Upskilling parents and providing the right context and the right mindsets. It's all going to be about the mindset, empowering the young people as problem solvers and establishing that they have a right to be a part of the digital economy. So they have the laptops, they have the internet, and they have the skills to leverage them to solve their problems, with AI being one of them. The schools need to incorporate AI, not run away from it, not try to hide it away, but teach the young people how to leverage AI in a way that does not remove their problem solving skill. There's some fundamental skills that they still need to learn, but AI can actually help them to get to higher order thinking to solve problems.
You know, a lot of teachers I've talked to and educators have a great concern about the use of it. And it's anything. I mean, I think the internet is good. You use it, it works out. But there are also some challenges, right? Social media can be a great influence, but then we also know that there are challenges with that. But from an educational point of view, you know the pushback that you've been hearing from some of the educational community, particularly when it comes to AI and the use of cheating and whether or not that's actually going to help a student's academic progress. Speak to that and the need for still learning AI in spite of, these challenges.
Absolutely. So I had a great conversation with David Adams, who is the CEO of Urban Assembly, which has many schools in the Bronx. Actually started in the Bronx, and this was at the Bronx Foundation event. The former Misha Porter leads that, and she was the former commissioner of the schools of DOE, former chancellor. Sorry. And what they're doing is really interesting because they're using AI to empower teachers. And I think that's really powerful around teacher evaluation. If you're using the technology to augment and improve the educational system and more stakeholders see that, I think that fear will begin to reduce. So there's a lot of research out there. As long as we're leading with love rather than fear. If we're going from a place of love, I want my young people to be prepared for the future of work. I need to go and figure out how to leverage AI rather than run away from it. Because if we kind of stick our heads into the sand, what's going to happen is that our young people will be left out of this digital revolution. And I can't, as a Bronxite, as somebody who loves the Bronx, I cannot accept that.
Yeah. How do you view the digital revolution as of right now? I mean, obviously, a lot of progression going on, a lot of things, and really trying to keep up. That's really what I think everybody's biggest thing is, from youth to adults to, educators. Folks trying to keep up, man.
We have to be curious, right? We have to start with love and be curious. Ask questions. Go online, ask questions. Go on ChatGPT. That's the chat.openai.com. You've heard about it, but have you tried it? You can ask it questions. You could probably ask it, how do I navigate the future of tech? But it's all going to be about that curiosity, which is going to encourage us to learn new things. Think about the problems that you want to solve in the world and start to find the tool to solve it. So we have to completely reframe the conversation from a deficit mindset, from a fear mindset, and think of it as an opportunity for us to leapfrog. The Bronx can actually jump over Jumpman and just spring forward so that we can really do some great things. I see great things happen in the Bronx. I'm actually heading to a cryptocurrency conference at Lehman College, which is around Bitcoin and things of this sort, as well as the underlying technology. So great things are happening in the Bronx, and I'm so blessed to be a part of what the Knowledge House is doing to move the Bronx forward.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of the organizers of that event, and really the word was, how can we really continue to keep people informed in a time when, first of all, access to resources and information doesn't always hit underserved communities, and the fact that you have to be, quote unquote, in it to win it. Because when we talk about AI, when we talk about the emergence of technology, you talk about crypto, Bitcoin, all these other things, it's out here. And while people are very much change resistors, they're gonna have to go from being a change resistor to a change embracer.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to take that. So, the Knowledge House, we are change embracers, we are change catalysts. At this event that we're hosting on November 15th at Accenture, we are galvanizing corporate organizations to know the Bronx and beyond, New York City and our other cities as well as places where you can find high quality talent. We are problem solvers, we are creators. We created hip hop. Let's not forget it. 50 years in the game. And we can also be arbiters of the future of technology. We can make sure that's inclusive. So that's why this panel is gathered. That's why these companies are supporting us. We're looking for more companies to support us. We're looking for the community to join us in this movement to make sure that our communities are driving the future of tech, our young people are included in the future of a tech, and that we are able to sustainably feed our families and our communities.
Where do people go from here in terms of trying to get information? I mean, obviously, the Knowledge House has got a lot of knowledge. So, how do they tap in? How do they get connected? And where do people go from here?
Thank you so much. So certainly go on our website. You can find us at theknowledgehouse.org. THEKNOWLEDGE house HOUSE.org. You can also find us on Instagram at the Knowledge House. I believe it's HOU on Instagram because we don't have enough characters. We're also on Twitter. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. Everyone who hears the sound of my voice, if you are interested in opportunities, you want to be on LinkedIn, companies are looking for you, and you can connect with us on LinkedIn as well. My name is Daniel Adeyanju. I'm happy to connect with folks on LinkedIn as well. You can find my name on LinkedIn. But please stay tuned to what we're doing. Our recruitment is actually going to open up in February of next year for both our adult and our youth programs.
Daniel, when you talk about youth programs, obviously, you're pretty solid with those and have a great connection with our young people. What are some of the barriers that maybe we're not paying attention to that we as a community need to when it comes to young people in this age of the digital and technology?
I think it starts with I think the biggest barrier. So we can talk about the kind of physical barriers, right? Folks don't have their laptop, they don't have the technology, they don't have the internet. So there's an access issue, there's an equipment issue. I believe that there's also a social capital issue. There are not enough people telling our young people that they belong in the future of tech, that they have options. So we need a movement of parents and principals and teachers and pastors and uh, uh, all types of folks galvanizing our young people that they are going to lead the future. They're going to be leading families, taking care of children of their own in better circumstances than they might have grown up in. So, in order to do that, they need to be learning these tech skills. They need to be developing curiosity. They need to be playing with technology, and that's where a lot of the learning happens. They need to break things, ask the question why. Again, pointing that curiosity. So I really think that the social capital, being able to see that future that is possible for them, we need to solve for that as well as the structural things. Of course, there's the financial aspect as well, where folks are thinking about just meeting their immediate needs. More poverty alleviation programs are necessary, and I believe they can be paired. For example, in our youth program, we provide a stipend of $1,000 over the summer so that young people don't have to decide between learning technology and developing and earning money. So when you can combine the two such that they're learning uh, future-proof skills while earning some money, and in our adult program, we also provide financial incentives to support people's learning. Again, our programs are free to our participants. We actually pay folks to learn, and we're looking to develop that model as we receive more funding to ensure that people can persist through our program.
Daniel Adeyanju, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate your time and a great conversation. Certainly, we want people to get connected to the Knowledge House and then also the upcoming activities that are taking place so that way they can become, current, relevant, and definitely not left behind. Daniel, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks so much, Darren. Be blessed.
All righty. Taking a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this.